Last week, Cole and Skipper the dog and the boys showed us the various components and the assembly of the sailboard, and we saw some nice sailing. Cole, I see a lot of people going through their first couple of hours of trying to teach them to teach themselves to sail a sailboard, spending most of that time in the water, and a lot of them drop off as a result. How can we set it up so they spend as little time as possible in the water?
Chris, as we said last week, it's very important to buy the correct type of board to start off with. The sandbar we've got here I've selected because it's fairly beamy. It's got a lot of volume in the hull itself, so it'll carry heavy people as well as light people.
Right.
And yet it's a fairly fast board, so that the person's not going to be restricted. The moment he learns to sail, he's not going to be looking for a more advanced board.
Okay, so the things that make it a good beginner's board don't necessarily make it sail like a brick when they get reasonably competent and want to go fast.
That's correct.
Okay, fine. Right, what's the first step?
First step, having rigged it, which we went through last week, is to not be in a hurry.
Right.
Set the boat up on the beach and set the hull at right angles to the wind direction.
Right, and so the wind's blowing from behind me now,
right.
So she's sitting there virtually ready to go.
With the board positioned as I mentioned, stand with your back flat against the wind, and that'll give you about the right position to start off. Step on the board with a foot just comfortably equidistant each side of the mast step, and then pull the sail up out of the water. It feels really heavy for a start, but if you do it gently and don't jerk at it, it really isn't much strain at all. Just hand over hand, nice and easy. Try and finish up with your right hand at the top of the rope if you're sailing in the direction we are, and you notice with no wind pressure in the sail, it just swings around. No power in the sail at all. Just don't be in a hurry to get beyond this point, because in the water the board itself will be rocking around, the sail will be flapping around, and you're fairly unsteady. So if you get the feel of that first before being in a big hurry to get moving, it might save you a bit of grief as you go along. To actually get moving, pull the rig towards you, hand over onto the boom, other hand, rig forward and lean against it. Remember, the moment you've got that rig in your hand, there's power in the sail from the wind, and it will try and jerk you straight off the front of the board.
So you've got to be ready to balance the weight of the wind in the sail.
That's correct. Even here we've only got 5 knots of wind and I'm pulling reasonably hard against it.
Now you said to move the rig forward. Why do you do that?
Right, now that's the crux of the whole thing. If you can understand this next point, you're on your way. The thing is steered by moving the rig fore and aft. If the rig is in front of the pivot point of the board, which is the centreboard,
yeah,
the board will steer away from the wind, which it would do now.
Right.
If you move it back behind the centreboard, it will turn into the wind. Don't think of it in terms of left and right, because they change depending on which side you are.
Yeah.
So when you first take off, the board tries to go into the wind, so you've got to quickly get it forward to correct that. You can push with your left foot at the same time to get the board going straight. As it accelerates, you can move the rig back, step back down the board a little bit yourself, and you're away. But from then on, just remember the steering principle: away from the wind, rig forward, into the wind, rig back. One other point I'd like to get in is that if the rig is overpowering you, let go the rearward hand. In other words, if the rig is pulling me off, I'll let go that hand and the rig just relaxes. If you let go this hand and the rig pulls me off.